Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is CraftyRia. Today we are going to be working on some fall cards. I've had some requests for some recycled fall and Thanksgiving cards. I don't have any, at least not that I can find, any fall or Thanksgiving cards to recycle, but I did find these in my stash while I was looking. These are some thin, very thin paper, and they have a slight texture to them. They almost look like a napkin, but they're not a napkin. And I honestly don't know where these came from. I'm sure they were gifted to me by someone many years ago, but I don't remember who, and I have no idea where they came from. So if it was you, please let me know. And I apologize for not remembering where these came from. I have so much stuff in my stash. But anyway, I thought these images were really pretty for fall. I absolutely love the colors, and I thought we would use these to make some cards. So we can just kind of pretend that these were cards already, and we're making them into new ones. Because that's what really recycling cards is kind of about. It's taking the image on a card and making a new card out of it. So I have these 4 images, and I'll make 4 cards. I will probably break this video down into 2 segments, just depending on how far we get. Then I went through my scrapbook stash, and I found these 2 pieces of paper. Now this paper, I would pretty much not use for much of anything. I'm not really a fan of it. It was in a DCWV fall stack from several years ago. When I say several, I mean maybe 15. But they're just, it's not really my color scheme. I don't really use it for much, but they really go well with these. I cannot believe how nice they match. So I thought it would be perfect to use for these cards. And then of course I dug through my stash and found some embellishments to use. We have some fall leaves that might look good on one of the cards. I have these stickers, and I'm not thinking about the owls, but I'm thinking some of those flowers might actually look good if I need a flower. I have some of these sentiments that might work well on these cards. I had to kind of stay away from cutesy because these aren't cutesy. These are, you know, like pieces of art actually. And I found some buttons that have some fall colors in them. And I have some card backs. I'm going to use 3 of my large card backs that came from these envelopes. These are 5 by 7, or these cards and envelopes. I got these at closeout at Pat Catan's when they were going out of business. So I picked 3 colors that I thought would go well. And then I have a smaller one. This one here measures 4 inches by 5.5. And then there's this blue mat, and I have an envelope in that same blue color. So I thought I would use that as well for this one here, because I think that would go good on a small card. And the other 3 will go on big cards. Then I organized my ribbon today, and I have my box of ribbons. These are some glittery ribbons. Some I got at the Dollar Tree, and some I got at Pat Catan's on closeout. So I put them all in here, organized by color, and we'll probably use some of these because there are some orangey fall colors and some gold, which I think would go good. So I'm going to set my ribbon box aside. I also have my usual things, my ATG, adhesive. I have some art glitter glue, and some scissors, and my ruler, and my paper trimmer. So I think we're good to go. I really don't have any idea of what I'm doing, and we'll figure it out as we go. I do have this little one that I'll use, and I think I'll do the other one that I was going to do in blue. We might as well keep the color scheme the same. I thought this one here looked good on the blue because it brings out the water. It's the same color. And then for these, I thought this one here would look good on the yellow since it brings out the colors in the windows. And this one I thought looked good on the red because, or it's kind of an orangey red, a brick color. I thought those colors in the background looked good on there. I'm going to set these two bigger ones aside, and we might have to do those in a different video. We'll see how much time we have. I'll set my embellishments aside because we won't know what we're using till the end. And I think I'll just start off with this smallest card. And like I said, I have these papers. I have 2 more sheets of these in case I need more, which I can't imagine needing more. So we'll start with this. I decided I would use this mat on the card rather than having a white border because I don't think the white complements it. So I'm going to attach this to the card. I cut the card to the same size as this mat. They call these flat cards. So I will go ahead and put some adhesive. Of course, now once I start, my ATG gun has to go crazy on me. Let's see if I can do a better job. There we go. This adhesive is wonderful. It is very strong, and most of the time it works very nice. So in order to put this on this card and have it totally flat, covering it up, I want to definitely line up this side of the card, the fold, because I can't trim the fold. If I mess up and have to trim the other edges, I can do that, but obviously I can't cut the fold, otherwise it'll cut the card in half. So what I do with it is I set the folded part flat on the table, and then I set this flat on the table, and I line up one of the edges before I actually put them together. So I kind of set it like this, and from my angle I can clearly see that that top edge is being laid out flat, and then you've got it. It's because then you know that one edge is going to be flat. I have a little glue sticking out. This adhesive is great because you can it just rolls off if it gets outside. And as you can see from the back, I did a pretty good job of getting it lined up. Then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to burnish it down. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use the edge of a pen or the edge of your scissors like this. You can do that. There's a lot of tools that you can use, but if you can invest in a bone folder, I strongly suggest it. It is one of my most used tools. This one I've had a long time, and I don't know if it's real bone. It's not plastic. I don't think it's plastic. It's really neat. It's got a really neat texture. I absolutely love this bone folder. I've had it for many, many years. Okay, so I'm going to take my card and I want to make sure it's opening on the right side. And I realize that this image there's a lot more open space on either side rather than top and bottom. So I'm going to cut a little bit off the top because there's also a lot of blue here compared to the other colors. So I'm going to cut, just going to eyeball it and take a little bit off the top, like an old man would say to the barber. Take a little off the top. And since this paper is so thin, how I'm going to do it in this type of a paper trimmer, I'm going to sink my blade in the middle of the paper. And then I'm going to go cut one way and see what happened, it tore. So that's okay, I can fix that. I'm going to have to use my big guns for this. This is my big old paper trimmer. I'm going to try not to make my camera fall, and I'm just going to go ahead and trim this just on the other side of the tear. I love the guillotine trimmers. I don't really like these slidey kind of trimmers for that reason. I've always really loved the guillotine trimmer. for most things because it'll cut things as thin as tissue paper. And now that I'm looking at this, I think there was a tree or something there, and there's a little branch. I'm going to trim to the other side of that little branch, just so that's off of there. And it makes this look like this image was meant to be this size and this shape. There, so that does fit. There's enough space all the way around. I'm going to move this big old pumpkin paper trimmer out of the way. So now I know I'm not going to be able to use my slider trimmer for this very thin paper. Okay, so we have this, so I have to decide what I want to mount this on because it needs something else in the background. There's too much white space on here. So I could do it on something like this, but this already has, I think, a lot of horizontal lines. I don't think I want to add any more. And then we have this, which I'm just going to I'm going to eyeball it on two sides of my card so I get an idea what it would look like if I matted this. And I think then that's even going to add maybe too much busyness to the card. Although I might actually like it. I might end up cutting it more from the middle since two edges would have a lot of this dark distressing and then two edges won't. So if I kind of cut it from the middle, kind of take this image and put it in the center there so we have it lined up with squares, if you know what I'm saying. And then trim it down to fit on there. But this will need to be matted on something else. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to get my little trimmer out of the way and bring my big trimmer back up here. Oops. I'm trying to knock my camera over. There we go. All right, this is Ria Bloopers 101. Okay, don't tell anybody. Okay, so I am going to trim right to this edge here. And how many squares do I need over? I need 4 squares. So I will trim to those 4 squares there. I will trim to there and figure out how many high I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high. There, so I have that piece, and I would be mounting it on there like that. Okay. I will try not to break anything. So what I need to do is to trim this piece of paper down so it mats on the card properly. And I'm going to go ahead and eyeball this and decide how much I need to take off of each side. Maybe 3/8 of an inch on each side needs to come off. So I will cut 3/8 of an inch off of this side. So this measures 4 1/2, and I'm going to go 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, make it 4 1/8. And then off of this side, am I going to do 3/8 as well? Yeah, we'll try that. So 4 1/8 would take it to 3 1/4. There. And then I'm going to take a little bit off the top and the bottom of this as well. And this part I'm just kind of eyeballing, since there's not as much, it's not as picky. There, that came out pretty good. So that does leave a little bit of the blue border all the way around. And that will be a backdrop for that. But in order to make this pop, I want to add a background to it. I grabbed all of my metallic paper, and I have this one here that is kind of a copper color. Let's see if I like it. Sorry, I was looking at it outside of the frame. I think I kind of like that copper. I have an orange, but I think the orange is going to be too bright. I'm going to go ahead and go with that copper, I think. I also have some glitter paper. Let me see what I have in my glitter stack left. I don't have very much. I've used a lot of this glitter paper. There's this color. I don't think that's a good color. And then black. No. Let me see if I have any bigger glitter paper. I'm sorry if this is a little slow and boring for you. I have more metallic paper. I have green. I have purple. I have a light blue. I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of this light blue paper out. Because I have a feeling I'm going to go with the light blue. Or maybe the copper. I think for this one I like the copper. I'm going to hang on to that light blue because it might work with some of my other cards. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and eyeball this. I want to make it just a really small mat on all 4 sides. So how I do that to avoid measuring is I eyeball it. Let's get some of this stuff out of my way. And I line it up with 2 corners of the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this. I have to be very careful. It's very thin paper. And I have to be careful with putting this adhesive on the back. And I will go ahead and put it on there. Okay. And then I will trim it. Kind of just eyeball where it's going to cut. I'd rather make it a little bit bigger and trim off if I have to, rather than making it too small. Okay, now I will put this big old thing out of the way. I should get a smaller guillotine printer, listen to me, cutter, trimmer. There. I think that really does make it pop on there. So I'm going to go ahead. Well, first of all, I want to see if I want to add any ribbon to it or any embellishments before I put it down. I have this gold, or this copper color, orange color. I haven't learned my colors. I could put it like this. I would put it towards the bottom so it kind of shows all through, and it does give it quite a bit of glitz. I like that a lot. So I think I will do that. Take my scissors, and it adds a bright pop of orange in there. I like it. So I want to put this towards the bottom. So I want to kind of get an idea where I want to put my adhesive. Alright. And we're just eyeballing it. I'm not measuring any of this. There. And I always like to have any kind of a ribbon tucked behind the base of the card whenever possible, because I think that really helps it give a nice clean edge, a nice look to it, a finished edge. So then I will adhere that on there. And I put tape on the paper and also on the ribbon on the back. That way it sticks down nice and good. Make sure my card's opening the right way and line this up. As always, before I push it down, I line up this top piece and this bottom piece and try to get an idea to make sure I've got it so it's not crooked. And then we have this. I kind of put the ribbon up a little higher than I wanted it, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this up on a little bit of foam tape. I have to get my foam tape. I didn't have it ready. Okay, so I have this roll of foam tape. Got this from the Dollar Tree. I looked the last time I went and they did not have this foam tape. And I'm gonna get nervous. I will be nervous. I hope they get it back in stock, because I absolutely love this foam tape, because it's not very thick and it's good for cards that are going through the mail. Because if your card is more than 1/4 of an inch thick, the post office charges you extra postage, because then it has to be hand stamped, hand canceled. So you have to be careful with that. Alright, so we have that. And I thought I might add a little bit of an embellishment just to jazz it up. I have these, and I have these. Let me take these out of the package so we can look at them. I also have this, and I thought the word autumn would be nice on there. Happy fall. Let's see, we have fall memories. Happy Harvest. I like that word autumn, and I might actually put that word autumn down at the bottom. Right across there. To make it kind of appear to be a reflection in the water at the bottom. Let me see if I like one of these flowers up at the top. Okay, yeah, I think I'll put that up there. There we go. So we have one card done, and it says Autumn, and it has a really pretty sparkly flower up at the top. So that'll bring some of this sparkle up to the top. Okay, one card is done. Yay! All right, then I have this guy, this deer, and I have to decide if I want to do him landscape. There's not much room on him to cut from the top and the bottom, but I could cut off some of the left side without taking too much away from the image, and I think that's what I will do. I'm going to go ahead and use my big trimmer. I have a little tiny baby trimmer, but I can't find it. My craft room is a mess. Don't tell anybody. Okay. I'm going to give him a trim on that side. And I'm going to trim the back side just to neaten up that edge a little bit. The great thing about these guillotine cutters, they cut just about everything. I absolutely love it. I'll bring my little guy back up here for trimming the rest of the stuff for this card. So I can do him that way. I think he looks quite balanced on the card that way. But I have a lot of room down here, but that's okay. We can put ribbon there. There's always something to put at the bottom. I have to decide if I want to do some background paper. I have this. Actually, for him, I may not want to do background paper. I think that will kind of like maybe cheapen the look of him, for a lack of a better word. Oh, I like that a lot. What do you think of that? I hope you like that too. I think that's gorgeous. Okay, I like it. So I'm going to cut this piece down a little bit smaller than 5 by 7. I want it to match the whole card, I think. So I'm going to cut it this way. The card is 5, so I'm going to cut it at 4 3/4 by 7, and I'm going to cut it at 6 3/4. I hope it's 5 by 7. Yes. Okay. So there we have that much of a border all the way around. I like these two colors together. Very much so. So I've got Mr. Deer on there. I'm going to call him John. I did have a pet John Deere, and his life did not end well. However, he used to come, I may have told this on another video, he used to come and eat apples off of our tree. So my husband bought me an apple picker because it got to the point where John's apples were too high. I couldn't reach them. So I used to go out there and pick some apples for John every single day. That's too bright. I think that blue is really a good complementary color for this. So John he would pretty much come up to me. My neighbor used to feed him by hand. He was so nice. He would eat the weeds in our backyard. And he would bring his girlfriend around. She was a little skittish. I don't think she was as friendly as he. But then one day I was outside with the dog, and John was outside, and somebody was running or, driving down the road and texting and hit him. So that was the end of John. But it was really sad because I happened to be out there when it happened. All right, so we have this. This ribbon is not very wide. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room on here. So what if I did something else with the ribbon underneath John? Maybe a piece of this in the distressed part. No, I don't like that either. I'm so sorry that I am probably boring you to tears. Let's see if I put a flower. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love this. Okay, John is going to get decorated with that flower right there, and this ribbon will work. All right, this ribbon's so pretty. I love that ribbon. All right, John, you hang out over there. Let me see where I want to put this ribbon. I kind of want it centered in the open space, the white space, if you want to call it that. Okay. I'm going to put, kind of hold John there so I get an idea. Yep, that's good. And when I put ribbon around the back of it, I start on the card and I work off all the way across the ribbon. That way there's a double layer of adhesive, and when I fold it over, it's extra stuck down. And then I'm going to adhere John Deere to the card. And again, I'm going to be very careful with putting this on. I am holding it very good at the top and running my adhesive down. Otherwise, it could make this paper buckle. I don't use wet glue for something this thin. I will only use the wet glue for adhering cardstock to cardstock. I don't use it for paper, because it will, no matter how little I put on, it just seems to make it warp underneath, wrinkle. And I have this gorgeous flower. I love the way that looks. That looks so awesome. I hope you like it too. I'll go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this. Now that this is a little heavier because we have that metal embellishment on there, I'm going to go ahead and add a little extra adhesive to the back. I'm going to turn it this way because when it's this way, you can see a little bit of the white, and that will drive me crazy. So I'm going to turn it that way. I always want the best side up. And I'm lining up the bottom left and the top right and setting it down. There we go. So we could probably call this done. Let me see if I have a little sentiment to put on here. This says Happy Harvest, Happy Fall. I don't know. I think these are too, I don't know what I want to call them. They're not elegant enough. They're too cutesy. And here we have elegant. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it just like that. So in this video, we went ahead and made these 2 cards. And I will be coming back with another video and making the other 2. That way it's not too long. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There'll be more videos coming out, and stay tuned because another video is coming up with the other 2 cards. You guys take care and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.